Hello, it's John here and welcome to episode 3 of Java Programming. In this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to create a variable. So what exactly is a variable? Well, a variable stores something. It could store anything you want. And a variable is the same as real life, so it can always change. So first of all, we need to know how this is actually stored. Where do we store a variable? Well, all computers have something called RAM, random access memory. I'm not going to go too in depth into what RAM is, because this is programming and not computer hardware. So this RAM will store all your variables, your program data, etc, etc. So we're going to use this RAM to store our variables in. Okay, so to start off with, in our default package, we want to right click on it, click new, and then click class. And we're going to call this the class name variables. Then we're going to put public static void main string args. Exactly the same as last lesson, but without the system.out.println. So our RAM needs to know how to store this variable. It needs to know what it is, what type of information it is, how big it is, etc, etc. So to start off with, here are the few things that a variable needs. It needs to have a name. It needs to have a location in memory. It needs a value. And it needs a type of information, like what it is. And it also needs to know how big it is. So Java actually helps you with some of this. For example, it will sort all the addresses out for you, so you don't need to keep that in mind. You just use the name of the variable, you need the type of information it is, and the size is also sorted out for you. In some cases you will need to know the size yourself, but that's easily known. So we want to start off by creating our variable. My variable is going to be called, let's start off with the types of information we can have. We have a few different types that are native to Java, and that is int. Int is short for integer, and it will store a whole number, for example -1, -1000, 8, 900, etc. Then we also have a double. A double is any number that has a decimal point in it. For example, -1.1, 1.324, 986.1, etc. Now we also have a similar one to double, and this is called a float. This comes before a double. The only difference is the float type of information stores less numbers than what the double can. So if you want more accuracy, you use the double. If you want quite a bit of accuracy but not as much as a double, you would use a float. Okay. Take note that it's best to use a double for currency because it's more accurate. Then we've got something called a character, or char for short. A character stores individual letters, so like A is stored in one character, then the other character is going to be like Z, for example. Characters on their own are not used as much, but there is a different variable that does different type of information that does the same thing, except it stores characters, and this is called a string. Now you'll notice that int, float, double and character are all this purplish colour, and string is coloured black. Well, this is because a string is actually made up of multiple characters. This int, float, double and character are all basic types of information. They are the building blocks of Java. You will most likely be using a lot of strings rather than characters. You'll probably be using a lot of doubles and a lot of ints in the coming episodes. So now that we know that, we can start to create a variable. So I'm going to make a variable of a string, and I'm going to call this variable my variable. Okay, some tips with variable names: they cannot have any spaces in them, they cannot start with a number, they can have underscores, they can have capital letters, and they can have numbers as long as it's not the first one. And you cannot put mathematical operators in there, such as plus, minus, equals. It's exactly the same as naming a class. So after we've done that, then we need to initialize this variable. Now you can either just put a semicolon on the end of this and it'll fix that problem, but this my variable hasn't got anything stored in it. This is absolutely fine, and then we could do this after is equal to my variable is equal to hello. This is perfectly fine, but sometimes it's easier and better practice to actually initialize the variable or something. So I'm going to delete that semicolon, put space equals, and because this is a string we need quotation marks 66 and 99, and then at the end of that we want a semicolon. Now you notice that this doesn't actually store anything, it's just blank, but the error's gone away because it's storing a string of no characters. So inside this string we want to say I don't know, Jordan. Okay. So after we've done that, we've got our first variable. Now on its own it's not really doing anything, it's just storing a list of characters called Jordan. So we want to do something with this, so I'm going to say system.out.println, and we learned this last lesson with our hello world program. So I'm just going to say hello, my name is, and then, well, how do we actually get this my variable to print with this message here? If we do this, my variable, and then try this program by pressing the debug button, you're going to see in the console it's going to say hello, my name is my variable. Well, that's wrong. It should be printing out Jordan. Because this is a variable, it needs to be outside of these quotation marks. So after the last quotation mark we want to press space, then plus, and then my variable. Now what this plus is saying is it's going to get this string here and get this string here, and then just add this string onto the end of this. Simple. So if we press debug now, it's going to give the correct output saying hello, my name is Jordan. Please like, favorite, comment and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.